Welcome back to the Win with Dice podcast, a podcast featuring members of the Win with Dice team. I'm Calvin, and I'm joined here by Ramon.
Hey guys, this is your first time listening to the Win with Dice podcast. This is a podcast all about tabletop RPGs. Calvin and I like to take a casual approach to the hobby, so, on this show, we like to talk about the games that we run, the games that we play, and the cool, wonderful people we get to experience the hobby with. If this is your first time, hearing about tabletop RPGs, what are you doing? Stop listening to this podcast and go find yourself a table and go have some fun. And come back later, for sure. Come back later. But if you are a player at someone's table, maybe it's your turn to be the GM for your group.
Indeed. So this week we're going to continue diving into the Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest. This time we're going to take a look at some of the classes in the book, all of the updated classes for the new version of the game. We're going to get into those and their new abilities. But before we get into all of that, we have to get to the most important part of the show, the Win with Dice Weekly GM Tip of the Week.
Yes, the Win with Dice Weekly GM Tip of the Week, kind of brought to you by me. I don't know if this is a tip, folks, but I got kind of inspired by another creator online, by Rules Lawyer, or The Rules Lawyer. I've never heard of this guy before, but apparently he's pretty good. But basically, the crux of his video is that there's always 1 million players and not enough GMs. And by that, the idea of what the expectations at the table, I guess the discourse around it is usually player focused, right? The idea that the GM is here to cater to the players a little bit, right? But realistically, it's the opposite because the game wouldn't run without the GM, and the GM actually has the lion's share of the work. So it's the idea that the GM has to cater to the players, and that specifically in combat, I think he was very focused on combat in D&D 5th edition. I'm glad I play Pathfinder, I don't have this issue. But how the game isn't really designed so well to kind of have that balance of that tight experience of you're going to be in danger, but you could pull through. That's really on the onus of the GM to navigate that path, because it's not really built into the framework of the I guess the numbers, the raw numbers underneath the hood. But just kind of the idea that GMs are supposed to cater to the players. I want to let you guys know, as GMs, this tip, that's not true. You are a player at the table. Do things that you enjoy. Make the PCs work for the goal. If they get themselves into a sticky situation, it's not your job to get themselves out. It's their job. And also, don't stray your way or don't fudge dice numbers too much. You can let them, Calvin's really good at this. Calvin's great at just letting the dice fall. And if you kill a player character or something bad happens to them, that's fine. I think that there's such an aversion to bad things happening to characters. I have the opposite opinion, where it's I want bad things to happen to my character, because bad things are what makes the good things worth it. If everything is good, then it's kind of blah, but you need those valleys in the journey to make the peaks even higher. You know what I mean? So yeah. Just with that, you know what I mean? You gotta go do that. But basically, the scenario that got flamed on was that a lich killed a PC wizard who did half of his HP with killing word. Killing word apparently just kills somebody without any saving throws or nothing. Power word kill. Yeah, killing word, whatever. the avocadava, you're dead spell, right?
Yes.
And I'm this dude's a level 21 lich. He's at his house. Some players showed up and did half of his life. He's gonna kill that dude, right? It's like when people it's like when you watch a movie and the bad guys just they lose because they're stupid, right? Don't do that. Let the bad guys be hubris, have hubris, get really drunk off of power, let their guard down because they believe they won. Let that stuff happen, but don't do stuff to just because the PCs need to survive. Bad guys aren't idiots, they want to win, so try to win. Right?
But fairly. Actually, you just reminded me of Let Bad Guys Be Bad, which was one of the first topics of this podcast, actually. Because I was talking about one of the early sessions in the Fateseer campaign, and I was ooh, I don't know if I want to put all these hellhounds against my players. How far I've come now is a separate thing, because I overtuned some combats between that point and this point. But yeah, I think that's something we have talked about before. is that these bad guys are characters and they have like their own wants and needs. They exist within this world. They're aware of the powers that they have. And they're going to want to use them to achieve their goals, much in the same way players are going to want to use their powers and abilities to achieve their own goals. So, yeah, the bad guys are going to sometimes have to be bad. They're going to have to counterspell that heal spell at some point. Because if that hero gets back up, that bad guy's going to die.
Yeah, like I think Matt Koval's thing is that like a rock golem steps on your head, right? Like if I know it's like oh, people will say like that's bad form because like there's a lot of love in a player character, right? Like the players at the table, even the GM loves the character. But like at some point if the drama is there, or like even if the players get themselves in a stupid situation, like it's up to them to figure it out, not the GM. The GM's there to tell a good story. I mean, you're not supposed to be like adversarial, but definitely like you are there to also have fun. And what it's really dependent on what your group's level of fun would be, right? And you know, even it's really funny. Even then, that post where the poster was getting flamed, the players, you know, said that they had a good time. Doesn't matter if they died, but like, you know, it was memorable. There's so many times where every campaign I have a character who dies, who sacrifices himself gloriously, and I live for those moments every single time. So like, let them do it. If the party survives but one player dies, that's a cool moment in a movie. Why can't you have that at the table?
You know, I will say to that point though, that the players still enjoyed it. I've seen multiple times like a post that something about a GM has done is being complained about, but the actual people who played in the game had fun. Like there was someone not too long ago who was talking about how they ended up getting into like city administration in their campaign, and like a bunch of the commenters were pissed off, but the players had enjoyed it. It was just a random social media thing. Don't use Twitter, folks.
Yeah, it's tough out there. If you're not in a curated space with people, then it's gonna get wild, right? Like. Yeah.
But yeah, speaking as someone who has perhaps killed more than his fair share of player characters, I mean, I do laugh it off at this point, but I feel like, I mean, like some of it's bad guys are going to be bad. There's definitely some of them where it's like, this is going to happen because that's what this character was going to do. There is some of it where it was like, yeah, I did some number stuff a bit iffy. But even in those situations, like you can talk to your players, you can figure out what to do next, because that's why, for me, one of the campaigns I've talked about on here, the Crown of Dragons one, it's a bit in a time freeze at the moment, just because I didn't really like how certain things went with a certain combat. But we just took a break from it. We're doing something different, and then later we'll go back to that and deal with those outcomes. But at the same time, like, something that does repeatedly come up, even for me still at this point, is just the character's going to do what the character is going to do. Like, if I can't think of a justifiable reason why this person wouldn't attack this player character, even though I, as the GM, might know this player character is in a rough spot based on how much HP they have, or what conditions they have going on, or anything else like that. Like, I can't just say, well, I changed my mind, I'm off to my home planet forever. Like they're going to do what they are there to do.
My mind. I'll see you later. That's so good. Yeah, for sure. And like, obviously too, bad guys don't have to fight to the death. Running away is like the best strategy most of the time. Like like it is up to the players to catch me. I'm not about to catch this L, right? Like that's not my job.
I mean, that goes for the players too. Like you can run away, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you can run away, right? Like I think
this isn't a video game.
Yeah, and there's onus on the party to organize themselves into a strategic thing if there's violence involved, right? Like that's you guys are basically just like a walking like monster. You put monsters in and death comes out, right? So like really, like who's the bad guy? Right? All those goblins had dreams, damn it. They had dreams.
Well, they should have had them further away than sword's reach from me. Another thing though, because this is a very long tip section now, another thing is that I think it is important to mention that the GM is a player at the table, and I do appreciate when people sort of like bring that up, bring up more like player-facing advice of what you can do to make the table better for everybody, and just also acknowledging in general for the game master or dungeon master or whatever the term might be for your particular game. Like, you are also someone who is at the table to have fun. So on some level, there has to be a bit of a give and take there. Like, you can't just keep, if the players want to do something different than, obviously the players are going to do something different than what you intended. But if you feel yourself getting pulled away from, like, the intent of the game that you started in a way that you are not enjoying running, like that specifically is it. Like, if you are not enjoying running the game, you don't have to just continue to put up with that. Like, you're not just the slot machine that players roll dice and you make a game come out. Like, you are there to have fun as well. And if something's happening where you're not having fun, like, you should be able to communicate that. And I have seen more people discuss that sort of thing, especially in the last couple of years compared to how tabletop advice usually was leaning, which is something I appreciate.
Yeah, maybe we should expand on this. We haven't had like a hot takes episode in a while.
We really should.
Yeah, we haven't had like a flim-flam, rambly kind of just like shooting the shit of like GMing episode. So maybe that'll come down in the pipeline, folks.
Maybe that'll be episode 200.
Yeah.
I mean, we can flim-flam all we want. It's our show. As long as we talk about at least one Starfinder class, then that's accurate advertising.
Don't let the people know. We're going to hit all of them. All right, let's do it. All right, there we go, folks. There's your tip of the week. GMs are players at your table, too. As a player, like, work with your GM, have fun, and don't expect them to save your butt when you're in hot water. Save yourself, kid. You're the hero.
Also, you can run away.
Yeah. Also, you could be a coward as well. Nothing's stopping you from doing that.
Hey, cowards live.
Yeah, cowards do live.
That's the real advice. All right, let's get into the episode proper then. We're talking about the Starfinder's 2nd edition playtest. When last we discussed this game, we got into the ancestries that were featured in the playtest, including the versatile heritages that you could put on top of those ancestries. So now we're going to get into the classes. I think maybe we'll just discuss like the first couple or so. Probably do some comparisons as well to 1st edition. But mostly what we can do at this point is just go into the theming of the class, some of the first level abilities and things like that. And I definitely want to make sure we touch on the variations each class can have, because that's when we can get into like the real like spicy stuff of Pathfinder. Mm-hmm. So let's get into it with the Envoy, and this is one that we have seen before because there was an Envoy playtest, or field test I should say, that was put out a while ago. But the Envoy is your charisma-based support class. There are many comparisons, of course, to be made to a bard, but the Envoy is a bit more inclined to get directly into combat than a bard would naturally be. It's more of a leader than just straightforward support.
Tactical, if you will. Right? Like,
yeah.
A little bit more of like the bark orders kind of lead from the front or the back. There's options for that. But essentially, you are the coordinator. You're coordinating your squad. Like, you kind of take up that mantle again, right? Like, key note: if you decide to run, it's a good idea for everybody else to run, right? Like,
exactly. All right, so let's get into the basics. You've got your key attribute, which is charisma. Your hit points are going to be 8 plus your con modifier, which is pretty decent. You're trained in perception, you're trained in fortitude, expert in reflex, and expert in will, which is interesting. I would have thought this might lean a bit more towards the fortitude, but the reflex makes sense to me.
No, he's got the mind, right? He'll resist.
That's fair.
He's got the tactical brains.
You train in certain skills like deception, diplomacy, or intimidation, all the charisma-based skills. You get a skill based on your leadership style, which we'll get into. And then you get a number of skills equal to 6 plus your intelligence. You're trained in most types of weapons, unarmed, simple, and martial. And you're trained in light armor and unarmed defense. The class itself So we have talked about this class before. The thing that stands out most for it is the directives that you're able to give to people. The way that your support works is largely giving these instructions to your allies to sort of direct them to do combat in certain ways. So the basic example it gives here is Get 'em, which is a classic move from first edition. In this example, you single out a particular enemy that you can see within 60 feet, and that enemy gets a -1 circumstance penalty to AC and reflex saves until the beginning of your next turn. And of course, with Pathfinder, you really want to get every little bit that you can. Every extra 1 and 2 you can get over someone's AC gets you another step closer to a crit.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a Pathfinder's great, man. Paizo really kind of dialed into the tight experience, right? Where like every bit counts.
Exactly. And that leads into the lead by example. So every directive has an option where you can lead by example, where if you do something related to that directive, it continues to boost the bonus for your allies. So if you direct your allies to Get 'em, and you attack the target you've selected before the end of your turn, that adds a damage bonus, a circumstance bonus to your damage rolls, equal to 1 plus half of your charisma modifier. Your allies, additionally, will get a bonus of 1 circumstance bonus to damage rolls against that target, and that damage will increase as you level up. So basically, you point out a target, you make a shot, and then your allies will also get bonus damage, as well as bonus on their attack rolls. And I have heard multiple times of Envoys doing the Get 'em move, but then thanks to that bonus damage, they manage to take out the enemy before their allies can.
Well, you're really just supporting yourself.
I mean, which is still pretty useful.
Good job, me.
I didn't.
That's so funny. I love it. But yeah, that's really cool. I love the idea of like singling it out a target and all of your friends get to help take it down. Very, very cool. Mm-hmm. I wish that this was just in Pathfinder, which I think probably the Tactician will have something like this. We went over the playtest for it, right? And it had a lot of rules that were like this, where it's able to like, single out somebody, give people like benefits and stuff like that. That kind of like supportive play is always a big turn on for me as a player, and like as a GM, it also makes the person be a really nice target, right? Where it's like, hey man, you're the dude in charge. I'm gonna get you. Like
exactly. I mean, I think you could convert this to something in Pathfinder just by taking the ability and maybe making it like, they spend a single action, they get that base bonus of a minus to the target's AC. And if they spend 2 actions or if they land a strike, then it applies the other ability as well. Because like all of Pathfinder's NPCs and all their creatures and stuff, they usually have some sort of unique ability unto that creature. Sometimes it's something simple like just a grab or whatever, but a lot of them have like their own unique stuff that they can spend like a couple actions on just to mix things up during combat.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely some dude out here that already has this, and there's a Pacific dude in a fight coming up for the Rise of the Rune Lords game. We haven't spoke for a little bit, but we've been playing. I think this is it. Like, I think this is the thing I was looking for to make it just a little bit spicier. Like,
definitely like steal stuff, mix it up a bit, make it work for you. That comes highly recommended from the both of us.
All right. Okay, we gotta.
Oh yeah, we gotta move. We made promises. There's classes. It's gotta be plural. Next up is your social masterminds abilities, which allow you to size up a target. When you size up, you spend some time researching your target. It's sort of like a digital version of the Ranger's. Gosh, I'm blanking on the phrase that I'm looking for, but similar to the Ranger.
Like he does. The cool tracking thing he does, where he studies the target, right? Like he studies the target and then he gets bonuses.
It's basically like that. You can track the target, or you can like research the target on the OmniNet. Hunt prey is the thing that I was looking for.
Yes, hunt prey. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can spend some time observing an individual. You can spend some time researching them on the infosphere, or you can just do some general networking and research And that basically turns the subject into your asset, which some other feats and stuff will apply to. But this is just basically you, like, have a specific target that you're going after. And you get bonuses on your charisma checks or your perception checks made against your asset. Which is an interesting thing, because you also get bonuses to recall knowledge. Yeah, this was an interesting thing, because I was wondering why this would be under the Envoy. Specifically, like, sizing up a target like that.
Well, again, I think it kind of goes to, like, the more of, like, this is more of, like, a tactical class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of really inhabiting, like, the leader. Like, you don't, I would say, like, you can, it has, like, the vibe of, like, you're in charge, so you're picking the targets kind of deal. So, like, the more information you get, the better your plans could be. That kind of stuff. Or it could be leaning more into, like, I'm a cool super spy. Like,
true.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more like the latter. You do also, once you have an asset, you can apply the Saw It Coming reaction ability. So when you're rolling initiative, you can gain a bonus to your initiative roll. And you're also able to immediately draw a weapon, step, or stride.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Because
you foresaw it coming, because this dude, you mapped into this dude's, like, whole, like, programming. Like, like, oh, I know exactly what he's gonna do. 5 steps ahead, like.
Just right up in their face.
Yeah.
So with the Envoy, your subclass comes from your leadership style. This determines, like, how you lead your party. It gives you a certain skill. It gives you a certain perk, which is, like, basically a feat, really. And then at 6th level, certain actions that you do become acts of leadership, and you get a different benefit when you perform those actions. And that's going to be based on whatever your leadership style is.
Yeah, and again, like, kind of going over that when we reviewed the playtest, these names are awesome. Like, from the front, you get medium armor, and the leads to action. The acts of leadership is, like, raising a shield, taking an action to move within enemy's reach, like, really leading from the front. From the shadows, I mean, sneak, take cover, hide, guns ablazing. You make a range strike that has, like, a multiple attack penalty from an area, fire, or an auto fire. So you're like unloading onto, like, get to the chopper, like, dude, that kind of stuff. Like, they're really cool. And what I appreciate is the flavor that it adds. It's like a lot. It's like a lot of, I guess I would say, like, action movie flavor.
Yeah, stuff like Hotshot, which where you get bonuses. You get a bonus skill in piloting, and your active leadership is when you drive, take control, or stunt, which is, like, it's mostly vehicle stuff. But again, it sounds very flashy. It sounds very cool. Might have to steal it for our Make Fast and Furious in Every Game episode.
Most definitely. Like, this is like, I feel like Dom would probably be like this plus like a soldier or something, because he's just real thick. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Also regarding the acts of leadership, when you use it after you've issued one or more Envoy directives in that turn, you can apply your lead by example benefits even if you didn't do the lead by example action. So, like previously with Get 'em, normally you would need to attack the target so your allies get that damage bonus. If you've done your active leadership that turn, your allies still get that bonus without you having to do that action. So yeah, it's pretty versatile how it works. You have to wait till 6th level to get that, but by then I think, like, you're going to be set into the flavor of the character a bit, and I think you'll probably really see the tone change regarding, like, how you apply your leadership, and that's going to affect how your party functions as well. Like, if you lead from the shadows, that's going to help your party out a lot while you're sneaking, and probably benefit them while they do things a bit quieter as well.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like, there's the feats too that has, like, a lot of cool kind of synergies. I like the amount of reactions. My favorite one is Quip. We always we always kind of have that quippy kind of, like, leader thing where somebody does something cool and he, like, adds a little bit of extra to it. So in this one, it's like you train intimidation. A creature within 30 feet is damaged by an ally strike. You follow up by hurling a cunning and well-timed taunt at the foe they have wounded, and you attempt to demoralize them as a reaction, which, again, like it says Pathfinder, every little bit counts. Demoralizing sucks ass, and when you get to do it to your opponents, it's it's groovy. Like
Yeah, yeah, very Star Lord vibes here.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I just like that they put in the fantasy everybody else will do, just in like rules where it's like it'll actually give you like a mechanical benefit, which I think that's like the coolest thing that's happening right now with this class.
Yeah, it's a good class for your classic space ruffian.
Yeah, the classic space ruffian. I like that one.
There is change of plans, which I think is very, very useful. It's if the target of your get 'em is reduced to 0 hit points, you can set get 'em against a new target.
That's so funny. Change of plans, like the dude just explodes. Wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, he's just like
instead.
Get 'em. It just super explodes. You're like, change of plans. Get that guy.
Yeah, for sure. That's so good. Oh, yeah. And Starfinder, you're so good.
Yeah. Don't Die on Me right next to that. The Envoy has some really good feat titles.
Yeah, they did a really good job at the names of just like, you could just use them and it sounds cool in a sentence because you could just be like, it feels like the characters would actually say that at the table. Like, oh shit, change of plans. Use my reaction. Gonna go do this instead, right?
Yeah. And again, a lot of these class feats, they are directives that you can use, and they have their own lead by examples that you can apply as well. They're like different abilities for the class, as opposed to things that will just give you like passive benefits. These are very active benefits that you gain.
Yeah, and I like the putting into that 3 action system where it's like attacking 3 times is never the right idea, unless there's like this dude has like a billion negatives and bonuses and you have a bunch of bonuses. Like it's not worth it. But just kind of like having that game flow of like do one thing and then attack, do another thing, then attack. Like that I think is the cool part about Pathfinder, is the options that you have that isn't just put my sword in somebody. Like yeah, okay, let's move on, because that's all the first level stuff, and we obviously really enjoy the Envoy and we think they did a banger job. So let's move on to the Mystic Magic Man, the Mystic class.
Ooh, the Mystic. All right, this is your caster, sort of your healer, depending on how they build the class. Your key attribute is Wisdom, and you have 8+ Constitution hit points. You are trained in Perception, you are trained in Fortitude and Reflex, and you are expert in Will. You get trained in a skill based on your Connection, which is like your subclass, and you have additional skills equal to 3 plus your Intelligence. You're trained in only simple weapons and unarmed attacks. You're trained in light armor and unarmored defense. And because you have spells, you are trained in the spell attack modifier and trained in your spell DC. And of course, all this is just like proficiency stuff, which applies to your attack rolls, your spell DCs, classic, all just like the Pathfinder 2nd edition stuff, which we're kind of assuming people know if they are interested in Starfinder 2nd edition as well. Mm-hmm. Again, the Mystic is the caster class. You have a connection to some sort of cosmic force that grants you your magical abilities. The nature of it can vary widely. You can worship a deity, which is something I feel like they're leaning into a bit more in 2nd edition than it wasn't something that felt very prominent in 1st edition, having any sort of connection to a deity. But yeah, that is something that your Mystic can use.
Yeah, but I like the description too, where it's like the first one here, Akashic, right? Like you're just connected to like a repository of all the knowledge in the multiverse, allowing you to access knowledge that otherwise would remain out of grasp. Like, you meditate and then like the actual answers come to you because you're like in the infosphere of the universe or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man, it's pretty wild. So yeah, with your different connections, again, like they set the sort of spellcasting tradition you use, and the skill, obviously the same one that applies there. They grant you a different set of spells, depending on which one you choose, and you also gain a harmony.
Yeah, so it's like, you get a special bonus when you use like your Vitality Network.
Mm-hmm. Yes, your Vitality Network is a pool of like points, basically. Mm-hmm. You have a capacity of 6 plus 4 hit points per Mystic level. You also gain the Transfer Vitality action, where you can just take hit points out of your pool and put them into yourself or into your allies to heal. and you regain points like per turn. Like at the start of each turn, you regain 4 points into there, and that will increase as you level up.
Yeah, so like every action, like I think it's super cool because it's like they just give you a free heal button you can press like on your allies, being like, transfer, because it's like one or more, right? You could dump your whole pool in if someone's really dying, or if you could just like drip feed them if they're looking kind of low. I like this. I like this. They made the healing less intense, which is good. That's always like the problem. I think you specifically, who likes to play healers a lot, have.
I don't know if I like to. I think just end up, but
you're just the nicest person at the table. So you're like, man,
dang it,
I gotta protect my friends. Damn it, I've cared too much.
One day I'm gonna play a complete just gremlin of a jerk, and it'll last for like a half a session.
Yeah, it'll last for like the introduction of your character. My name is Gruff and I'm gruff, but actually I'm your mom now. Eat your vegetables. Like, that's what would happen.
Dang it. My druid made me too nice. Well, my druid and my barbarian and now the kineticist I'm playing in the other games.
I would also argue too, like Helen was also very nice. There's lots of people on her boat that
yeah. I gotta make a mean character.
I know, if you're ever interested in hearing those stuff, we talk about it on the podcast. So yeah, they're there. We haven't spoken to like our episodes in a while, but we should probably get back to those eventually. Yes. Anyway, yeah, the Mystic is the magic guy, but also the Healy guy, so I like it. Let's go back to the connection. So there's elemental, where you connect to those spicy elemental planes of existence, and you get the spellcasting school like tradition. Like primal is for elements, occult is for the knowledge one, harmony is for healing is for divine, and I'm sure there's rhythm also for primal, and shadow for divine. For the elemental one, your harmony, I guess we can talk about the harmonies. The harmonies, I think, are the coolest part, right?
Yes. So harmonies, they sort of apply when you start using that pool. So like with the Akashic, when you transfer vitality, the target also receives a psychic download and can immediately attempt a recall knowledge check. Oh, real quickly, I did want to touch on the Akashic download spell that you get when you choose the Akashic connection. Because it's like, if you have a comm unit, you can do some magic with it and just use the comm unit as part of your recall knowledge check, and then it just immediately like displays like information relevant to the topic, and I think that's a cool spell.
That's sick. Yeah, they recall knowledge checks using the device with it. It really kind of brings it's bringing in that kind of magic and technology kind of deal, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, with elemental, your harmony, if you heal a creature that you are bonded with, the target is going to be able to deal some persistent damage based on the elemental, the sort of like element that you are connected with. And this is based on your epiphany, and the epiphanies for these connections for the mystic, they're basically like your focus spells. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the elemental ones can be flavored with different elements, which could be pretty cool, actually. I think having some electrical abilities in a Starfinder setting could be pretty useful.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's like a given. I think there's a bias towards electronics, I think. You know what I mean?
There's the healing connection, which is, again, very clearly the more healing-focused one. With the harmony for that, you allow your healing spells to restore hit points to creatures with void healing, which could be very useful depending on your party composition. And whenever you heal a bonded creature and you would restore them to their maximum HP, you regain, like your vitality network regains the excess points that would have been spent up to your character level. Which could be useful if you heal someone. I mean, I don't know what situation you would be in off the top of my head where like you don't just ask the player next to you how much healing you need, but it could also apply to creatures that aren't just players. So.
Yeah, I mean, I like the rhythm one where it's like, you're connected to the stars and the cosmic beats and stuff like that, and you get to, extend the duration of one of your active epiphanies from the rhythm connection. So you have no active focus spells and you have a focus point remaining. You can instead cast a 1-action focus spell as a part of this action. So I guess the idea is that you're able to kind of double up on the action economy and like apply your healing and apply the rhythm ability to whatever's going on. I don't really know what the epiphanies are for this one, but I'm assuming it's like it has stuff like shuffle repeat focus spells, they have like an anthem focus spell, so yeah.
I think did we look at the Anthem focus spell? This sounds vaguely familiar. Anthem, a 60-foot emanation you can sustain for up to a minute. You compose the tangle of cosmic melodies into an anthem for your bonded companions. All bonded creatures in the area get a +1 status bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls, and also a +1 status bonus to saves against effects that cost Fascinated or Confused.
So you do just start playing the intro music, like just like
you play your party's theme song.
I figured it was something like that, but yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think it sounded familiar because there was a different spell or ability that was like an individual theme song for a person, but this is for like the whole team. Yeah, if you're playing this digitally, then you absolutely have to have some sort of actual theme song for your players.
Yeah, just like take over the playlist from the GMs. Be like, playing the theme song now.
And lastly, there is the Shadow connection, where you are connected to the Netherworld, and whenever you transfer Vitality, the target's shadow grows, and it reduces bright light around them into dim light. It is a form of magical darkness, which allows the target to become concealed, which could be very good if you want to get your Envoy to lead from the shadows.
Oh, yeah, you could do that. And as well as you could stand right next to them with Umbral Stride, where you're able to just teleport up to 30 feet. But it has to be in a destination of dim light, which, hey, you just did with your other action, right? Like, wow, it's almost like you're playing a game. Like, what do you mean? I love this. Yeah, so again, like Mystic also kind of leaning into like you said, Calvin, the deity stuff for like the feats. Seeing a deity's domain, connection with divine spellcasting, worship a deity. I like that it's like the prerequisite that you have to worship a deity, so like you have to make some player agency and like have some choice into it. You don't just like are forced. But yeah, martial discipline, you worship a deity, you get to be trained in their favorite weapon, that kind of stuff. Network spell, I think you touched on before, Calvin.
You channel your spell to manifest from one of your allies instead of yourself. Yeah, I think, oh gosh, was it? Yeah, the Mystic was in one of the other field tests. Let me just double check, because I know we talked about.
Yeah, it was good vibrations. That's what I remember.
Yes.
That was what we got out of it. It was sending the good vibrations. But yeah, I also want to add out like the Xeno Druid bond, where you get to like, you're a member of the Primal Order, grants you like powerfully you choose one of the following things. You become trained in the listed skills, and you get like Animal Order, you get Animal Lore, Elemental one, you get Elemental Planes, Viral Order, which I thought was wild because that's like you're like bonded with viruses, and Plant Order, where you're bonded to plants.
Yeah, you can be a space druid.
Yeah, a space druid, but with viruses. That sounds hilarious. Like you're just like this mystic doctor.
That's gonna be my next character.
A mystic plague doctor. It's trained in medicine, so you're probably just gonna help people. Like,
dang it! I'm never gonna beat these healer allegations.
Never. But yeah, that's the Mystic, folks. If you like, I guess it's like the allegory to being like a druid or a cleric, or that kind of like connection to a greater power kind of deal. But I also like to think of it as like kind of like a Jedi, actually. The mystical side of the Jedi, connecting to the Force and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
More magic spells and less kung fu, unless that's the thing that you're into. Then you could probably just have kung fu if you want.
I can certainly see something like this being some sort of like, depending on like the story of the game that you're playing, being some sort of mystic order that you meet other members of. You can certainly give your GM some inspiration for plot hooks with this sort of character.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Last for today, let's look at the Operative, whose key attribute, of course, is dexterity. Also gets 8 plus constitution hit points. expert in perception, which makes a whole lot of sense. Trained in fortitude and will, expert in reflex, which also makes a whole lot of sense. You have a skill based on your operative specialization, but you're only trained in skills equal to 3 plus your intelligence modifier, which I thought was interesting because I thought this class would lean more into the skills. But I guess because I'm just sort of assuming it's going to be a very space rogue.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that I'm not sure what the class DC is based off of.
Well, it would be on your dexterity.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. So I guess they're going to more of like a skilled, dexterous person versus like more like an assassin, less like a skilled person.
You are trained in guns. You are expert in simple and martial guns, as well as trained in advanced guns, trained in simple and martial weapons, and of course trained in unarmed attacks. You're trained in unarmored defense, and you're trained in light armor. As an operative, you get the aim ability, where if you're wielding a ranged weapon that doesn't have the area trait, you can take an action to take careful aim at a single target and sort of designate them as your mark, and your strikes on that target gain an additional 1d4 precision damage. You also reduce the bonus your target gets from cover by 1. Of course, your target has to be within your weapon's reach and things like that, but as your level increases, the number of dice you add to this also increases. This is basically your
sneak attack?
Sneak attack. I don't know why I forgot. Sorry, it's been a day.
You barely used it when you were playing a rogue. Which is really funny.
I did. I tumbled.
I tumbled. Yeah, I like this aim thing because it feels like I think that sneak attack, I guess in past versions of like D&D and stuff like that, it was a little bit hard to get off. Like it wasn't easy. I think it's a lot easier now in 5th edition probably, and like in Pathfinder that's built into like the type of rogue you are, and you have a lot of options to make people off guard? Yeah, that's what it's called now. Yeah, off guard, which is super helpful. But yeah, I like the less of like a space rogue and more of like a space assassin. You're like, oh, that guy. I'm gonna hone in and take the shot. I'm thinking more of like Black Widow. A lot of Black Widow vibes.
Because I'm comparing it to the sneak attack for the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Rogue, but this one, like, it specifies that you need a ranged weapon, and your damage is just 1d4 compared to the d6 that a Rogue would get. You do have that ability to reduce cover that a Rogue does not get, at least from their base sneak attack. But yeah, I guess mentally I'm just trying to compare the two and see, because my immediate thought, similar to looking at the Hunt Prey versus the Envoy's ability, my immediate thought is like, is one of these actually just better than the other? And at first glance, I'm kind of feeling like the sneak attack's a bit better because you have a bigger damage die and you're not restricted to what types of weapons you can use.
Yeah, but I think that like the weapons in Pathfinder, like the damage dice are like a lot more. If I remember correctly, I'm not sure if they changed it, but I remember they're like they kind of just get like high because you're shooting like real guns at people. Like I don't know. But yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's great. Like again, it's less of like your space rogue. There's probably also ways to like increase that damage die if that's what you're really going into, right?
Oh, probably. I'm sure there's feats that will apply to your aim ability somehow that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, for sure. And like and then there's like the different operative specializations, right? And you get different like exploits and stuff like that with it, which will make your operativeness more opportunative.
Something like that. You have, of course, you have Ghost. If you're
Ghost.
Shout out to all the Call of Duty fans that that listen to this podcast. Yeah, Ghost, where you're all super stealthy. You specialize in getting into a location somewhere you shouldn't be and using stealth tactics, cover identities, disguises, or spy tech. You could be an assassin, you could be a spy, or just out to dupe your next mark. As a Ghost, you get the exploit where you can aim at targets that are unaware of you as a free... Okay, you know what? Maybe this is the thing that I need. You can aim at targets that are unaware of you as a free action. And if you successfully hit that target who is unaware, or they have an attitude of friendly towards you, they become slowed for a round. And on a critical success, they're stunned for a round.
Oh yeah, that's so good. That's really good.
So you can just plan your epic betrayals against your friendly targets, and if you hit, they're slowed for a round, which actually would be super useful if you are trying to betray somebody, so that just, game mechanic wise, they're not going to turn around and blow you up with 3 actions.
Yeah, or like if you're like taking that first shot because you're the assassin, like I'm thinking like XCOM 2, guys, right? You're like, you snuck in and you see the dude and you're like, oh, I'm gonna take the shot, right? And you start off the combat encounter with a cool stunned enemy.
Oh yeah, this would be perfect for the stealth party we're building with the Envoy and the Mystic.
Yeah, this Shadow Mystic, this lead from the Shadows Envoy, like this kill squad. Like, oh man, I'm so down to just make like the shadowy organization.
And then at higher levels you gain an enhanced exploit. For example, the Ghost Tap, where you make a stealthy shot, then disappear. So after you make your ranged strike, you attempt a stealth check. You can also use Deception if you're in an urban setting. And you get a bonus to this check if the creature was unaware of you or had a friendly attitude towards you. And then, you're basically just hidden from that point.
Yeah, for sure. That's super cool. I like the additional, like, if you're in an urban area, you can just, like, hide in the crowd. Like, kind of like Assassin's Creed thing. You put up your coat, you just, like, walk with some mugs and nobody, where'd he go? Like,
I haven't, okay, this is gonna get us some comments, but I haven't seen the John Wick movies yet, but isn't there a scene in there where there's, like, John Wick and someone else and they have, like, silenced pistols and they're shooting at each other, like, in a crowd? Is that John Wick?
I mean,
is that
probably? That sounds like a John Wick kind of deal.
I was hoping you would know.
It's like, I don't know. I haven't seen any of the John Wick movies. I just know that like that dude had a dog and he was mad at it, and then like a lot of people died. And there's like silly like there's Morpheus is in there, and there's like silly assassin rules, and like. Yeah, it was all sorts of nonsense.
Okay, well, that's another thing to add to the list of movies we need to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Other operative specializations. You have your Infiltrator, where you're good at hacking and bypassing security systems and traps and other defenses. This one actually sounds really cool to me. Seems like the kind of one that I might want to play. You gain the exploit Sabotage. You gain the Sabotage action, rather, where you can disrupt enemy tech. You choose a tech item or a tech creature within 15 feet that you can see. If it's a creature, you can attempt a computer's or a crafting check against its fortitude DC. If it's an item, you can attempt a thievery check against the item's DC if it has one, or the reflex DC of the creature possessing it. And of course, if you're an expert in computers, crafting, or thievery, this can improve as well. It increases the range you're able to do this at. But on a success, the creature or item becomes glitching for 1 minute. Glitching 1 for 1 minute. Or on a critical success, I should say. On a regular success, it becomes glitching for 2 rounds. And glitching is a condition that specifically affects objects and creatures with the tech trait. If you have glitching on any of your equipment or as a creature, you have to make a flat check at the beginning of every round. The DC of that flat check, which is just a d20 roll, is 10 plus the glitching value. And if you get a critical success on that, you can reduce the glitching value. If you get a regular success, you can act as normal. But if you fail that roll, you have a penalty on everything done with that item or as that creature equal to your glitching value. And if you get a critical fail, then you are also stunned.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And then like the enhanced exploit is like you get to do it for free when you hit with a melee or ranged attack. And if it's like a critical or like you could use it as a reaction whenever a creature is wielding a tech weapon or a tech creature critically fails a melee attack against you. You could just like fiddle with the bits of whatever that the person's using like as they're trying to get at you. That's such a cool thing.
Just hack their
like,
weapon.
Just the like on the fly with your I don't know, your Nintendo Power Gauntlet, like just like Omni Tool or whatever.
This one seems really cool. I think just like being a little that could be it. I could be a little hacker gremlin. Then no one can get healed by me.
Yeah, probably. until the chips are down, and you're like, no, my friends.
Dang it. The skirmisher, where you specialize in close quarters that require you to operate in crowded and tight spaces, including inside buildings or within crowds.
I think it's the John Wick one. Like, I'm pretty
This
sure.
might be.
I love it's like mugger, bodyguard, and assassin again. An urban mercenary. You favor pistols. You can use them efficiently in tight spaces. That's pretty sure this is a John Wick one. You train in acrobatics, and you gain a skill feat for acrobatics. So yeah, pretty sure that this is you being John Wick. On your exploits, you utilize your pistols in close combat, and you can employ them in the fight just as well as some might use a sword. Oh boy. Your ranged attacks with one-handed ranged weapons don't trigger reactions that are triggered by ranged attacks. You gain the hair trigger feat. Bonus feat as well.
And
whatever that is.
Hair trigger is a reaction that whenever a creature within your first range increment of a weapon uses a manipulate or move action, makes a ranged attack, or leaves a square, and you're wielding a gun, you can attempt a ranged strike against that creature. It's basically your opportunity attack, but you can do it with a ranged weapon.
Oh, yes. And then the advanced one is point blank shot. Your point blank shots are particularly deadly. When you make a successful strike against an adjacent enemy with a one-handed ranged weapon, you calculate damage as if it's the lowest rolled weapon damage die for the attack had the maximum result instead.
Oh, okay.
So if you roll the lowest. If you rolled like Snake Eyes, then you could just like actually it's 100%.
Yeah.
It's like back.
So it's like if you roll 2d4 and you get like a 3 on one and like a 1 on the other, the 1 changes to a 4. Oh, that's pretty cool actually, because it affects only the lowest one. So if you have multiple dice that you're rolling for damage,
and it's like a D4, because then you would have a 50% chance to roll a 4 on that D4 specifically. I guess it has to be weapon damage dice specifically. So I guess if you have like a D6 weapon, you're actually at 2/3 chance of rolling a 6, because that 1 becomes the 6, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool actually. I thought this wasn't that good, but actually this thing's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Shoot. I might just steal this. That sounds awesome.
I'm saying, man, you can just make your own custom items or whatever that have these abilities. Or
it's gonna
characters.
Those goblins ain't. You guys are dead. Like, those goblins are gonna mop you guys.
There's the sniper. You specialize in taking out foes from far away. How I play every video game. You favor sniper rifles and prefer to line up the perfect shot rather than rush into combat. The exploit you gain is that you ignore the volley trait of guns you wield. And volley means that the weapon is less effective at close distances. So if a target is within a certain range, your attacks get a -2 penalty. So you can ignore that, and you gain you gain an operative feat. Either keep them in your sights or scope sight. With keep them in your sights, your target is always marked. So when you aim, even if the target moves, when you aim, you can still apply the benefit of the target being within the first range increment, even if it moves further, if it moves into the second range increment. And with scope sight, whenever you aim, you can also activate a sight weapon upgrade if you have a weapon upgrade applied to the sight of your weapon.
So yeah, you're the dude with the sniper rifle.
Yes.
Oh, I see. But like, it doesn't matter which range they're at. They're gonna get them, right?
Yeah. Something I kind of wondered is how effective sniper weapons are going to be, but I think with a good sniper build, you could be pretty effective. You're going to need a very big combat map, so GMs look out for that.
But you don't have to, because like you can ignore the volley trait.
True.
So they could be like, right in front of you, and you're like, actually, I'm really good at this.
Oh, that's true, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually an expert. Like, again, lots of cool Black Widow-esque vibes. The super assassin, that kind of deal. There's one last one, which is the striker, which is you're the hand-to-hand combat specialist. You're a martial artist who likes to show off. An assassin again.
Yeah.
Who kills with a personal touch. Like they're just like repeating the word assassin. Like to really get it in. So you take on the fight to your foes and use your body as a weapon. You're trained in athletics and you gain skill feat for athletics, and you choose strength as your key attribute. You get expert proficiency with unarmed and one-handed melee weapons with the agile trait, like your classic knife trick from the Winter dude. Who's that dude from Marvel?
Oh, the Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier. I was like, yeah, the Winter Soldier classic knife trick, where he pulls the knife out and drops it and stabs you with it. I've been watching too many. My wife just watched Gossip Girl, and like, and he's a character. The actor plays a character in it, and I kept making the joke, like, how's that? Why does that dude have 2 arms? I don't understand. But now it's like overridden. I'm like, oh yeah. But anyway, so yeah, you're the cool kung fu guy. Yeah. Whenever you increase proficiency with your with the martial guns, you instead increase your proficiency with the agile melee weapons and simple guns. In addition, when you take aim, your aim can be applied to one-handed melee weapons with the agile trait rather than the ranged weapons, and any operative feat that requires you are wielding a gun, quotation marks, has also the new optional requirement you can select. Instead, you are wielding a one-handed melee weapon with agile traits. So all of the cool stuff you can do with your guns, you could just say, actually, I'm the knife guy.
Yeah.
Oh, and you get the reactive step reaction, where the trigger is that when a creature within your reach leaves a square during your move, during a move action it's using, you're able to move deftly around your foe, getting out of tricky situations, or manage to put yourself into a place where you can hold the advantage. You step twice, ending as close as possible to your triggered creature. Yeah, and then enhanced exploits. You can, you find yourself able to overwhelm the foes that you study. So you gain the overwhelming strike free action, which is it's triggered when your strike hits a creature that you designated with as your mark, and you apply one of the following overwhelms. They become like off guard, suppressed, or they can't take cover or benefit from cover. That's really cool. Actually, I'm like, so I know that you were like always do like the sniper build. I always do this. Like, I'm either the dude who runs in really close range and does like the gun kata nonsense, or I'm the dude who brought a sword to the gunfight.
Nah, I like hiding too much. Okay, I guess let's just finish off with a quick look at some of the operative feats.
Yeah.
There's some pretty good useful stuff like instinctive aim or mobile aim, where you can draw or move and then aim within the same action.
Yeah, creative cover is kind of cool. You could just like manifest a barricade with crap around you. Elusive target, attack roll fails or critically fails, so you move out of the way. So you get to step for free, which it's always pretty sick if you get to just do the cool sidestep away, like
yeah,
someone try to hit you. Yeah, mobile aim. When you stride, then aim with your gun you're wielding. So it's like you can stride and aim at the same time. Yeah, just kind of like really, really good.
Oh, weakening shot. It gives me some Fallout VATS vibes.
Yeah, you just like put on the screen and aim for the part. Yeah, so if you strike, you obviously your target's you strike your target's limbs and appendages to weaken them. You aim, then you take the ranged strike at your mark, and if the strike hits, the target becomes your choice of clumsy or enfeebled until the end of your next turn, which I think it's kind of wild too, because you could like take this ability with the skirmisher and get the overwhelming strike for free, mind you, as a free thing, and then apply like a bunch of debuffs. I don't know, the operative feels like you just make the target suck at doing this thing, and kind of pile on like the debuffs, but like physically instead of like do like a spell or something like that.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think maybe that's what's leaning more towards, as opposed to the rogue doing heavy single target damage. This is heavy single target debuff.
Yeah, well, you also get like stuff like double tap where you shoot twice, hair trigger, and it's also about like repositioning and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's just kind of being like the soldier is like the front lines, and you're the Black Widow kind of support, not like support, but like you're gonna like be able to take down one dude really well, versus like the soldier's probably able to deal with a bunch of dudes really well.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I do like Kill Steal. I know it's a second level one, but I do like Kill Steal as a name for a feat and as a function as well, where if an enemy was hit 2 or more times by an ally that turn, you can also make a shot at that creature.
Oh man, and then like if you have an envoy and you're just like the envoy calls him out, shoots the guy twice, and you're like, actually, I kill him.
You can Kill Steal from the Envoy.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, well, I like this little stealth party we've built here.
I guess that's it for now.
Yeah, that'll do it for now. Again, like, I like a lot of these classes. I like also how there's some stuff in there that can give, like, again, like I had mentioned with the Mystic, like, plot hook ideas to your GM. But also, there's just, like, a bunch of unique abilities in there as well that I feel like they're doing a lot. Like, Paizo's putting a lot of work into making sure these don't just feel like retreads of other classes. They have their own unique flair to them that even if it's not immediately obvious, if you go through the class, you know, you can see what makes it unique, what makes it stand out, and what makes it fit in this Starfinder setting.
Yeah, and on page 96 there is a sniper Barathu. So sky's the limit, folks. Like sky's the limit. It's Blasto. Blasto is real.
This one landed 1 shot, 1 kill.
This one. That's so good.
Yeah, man. You know what? I think the sniping Barathu is going to be my next character. All right, Ramon, anything else you want to say about Starfinder's 2nd edition classes?
I'm excited to see the rest of them. I mean, I think that, you know, the fact that we're just kind of excited reading the book, I couldn't imagine a player getting stoked to play one of these guys.
Yeah, we're going to get into, next time we talk about these, we'll cover the other half, and we're going to get into the Witch Warper. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, thanks a ton, everybody out there, for swinging by and checking out the podcast. Appreciate you stopping by, as always. If you're into Starfinder 2nd edition or 1st edition or Pathfinder or Lancer, definitely check out our other episodes of the podcast. Come by and check out the channel on YouTube, where there are weekly gaming streams, which are also a whole lot of fun. Currently going through Baldur's Gate 3 and Armored Core 6, and just started playing The Evil Within. So look forward to that scary game for the next few weeks.
What makes you play these spooky ass games, man?
I don't know. It's almost October.
Oh my god.
In addition, I want to shout out all the people who are linked below in the YouTube description. If you're into the Lancer RPG, go check out their awesome work. Also, shout out to the Untold Stories Project. You can find me there in quite a few things. We're getting into one-shot season. And in addition, there is a new show. It's going to be starting soon on the Tuesdays time slot. So definitely check that out towards the end of the month. But that's all I've got for now. Is there anything else we need to mention before we head out of here?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, for all of our GMs and players who are stealthy and leading from the shadows, just remember to keep on winning with dice. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.